Alrighty, so we've made it to the end of this section or unit, and it's now time for us to get set up so we can actually move on and start doing stuff with code. So there are just a couple of tools that I'll be using in the course, and I definitely recommend that you use as well. They're cross-platform, whether you're on a Windows machine or a Mac or something else, and they are free. You don't have to use these, but the first one is going to be Chrome, the web browser Google Chrome. I highly recommend that you use it. If you are comfortable using another browser, like you prefer Edge or Internet Explorer or Firefox or Safari or something else, that's totally fine, but the tools that I'll be using later on, the developer tools specifically that we use to inspect and understand and debug code, are specific to Chrome. Now, there are analogs in other browsers, but I definitely recommend you use Chrome or Firefox as a backup option, but definitely Chrome is going to be the smoothest experience. So go ahead and download that. It's nice and easy. Just google.com/Chrome, download Chrome. I'll allow that to open up, verify, and all of that stuff. And again, the reason we're using Chrome is that it's pretty much the standard with developers these days. You can definitely use other browsers. Firefox, as I mentioned, is popular too, but Chrome is the most popular. Let's put it that way. All right, so we'll open it up, make sure it works. Yes, open. And there we go. We've got Chrome open. Congratulations, us. So the next tool that I definitely recommend you install is VS Code, which is a text editor, Visual Studio Code. It's put out by Microsoft of all companies. Over the years, I have changed the editor that I recommend a couple of times. I used to use Sublime Text in my courses. These days, VS Code is far and away the best free option. It is very powerful, especially given the community built around it. Lots of updates, lots of fun extensions and useful extensions. VS Code is just an editor. It's where we'll be writing our code throughout the course. So we could write, text documents in VS Code if you wanted to. You could write Python code, JavaScript code, HTML, CSS, and so on. That's exactly how we'll be using it. So go ahead and download this. You can use another editor if you have one you prefer, but once again, some of the shortcuts and the extensions I'll be using are specific to VS Code. So for the best experience, use VS Code. So I'm going to download that as well. And I actually am on a brand new computer here, so I don't have any of these installed. Usually I have to fake it and pretend that I'm installing things that I already have installed, but I'm actually going through the process just like you might be as I'm recording this. Okay, so here's VS Code, or Visual Studio Code. And in the next video, I'll talk a bit about customizing the appearance. If you're interested, I will change change some of the settings at least, and I get a lot of questions about it usually, so I'll cover that in the next video. But for now, I'll just show you the basic workflow. It's pretty straightforward. Make a new file. You can just click here. I use shortcuts, usually Command N. Here's a new empty file. I'll save it. You could do File, Save, or Command S, or if you're on a Windows machine, I believe it's just Control S. Basic text editor, at least so far, right? And as we learn HTML and CSS and JavaScript and other languages, we will see some of the specific features that are really nice for writing code. But just to show you the basics, make a new file. I'll save it. Let's call this one hello.txt, just a text file, I guess. And I can start typing my text, and that's honestly all you need to do for now. So shortly, we'll pick up with HTML, and we'll talk about making HTML files. But just make sure you have the editor installed. You can make the font size larger, smaller. I'll make mine pretty large so you can see it. And in the next video, I'll show you how you can change colors and all of that in fonts. One last tool that I recommend, but definitely is not mandatory, is something called Spectacle. Now, this is mainly if you're on a Mac. Well, specifically, Spectacle only works on Macs. It doesn't exist on Windows machines. But on Windows machines, I don't think you even need to install something for this feature. What Spectacle does is it helps me rearrange windows. So if I wanted to, split the screen, which I do frequently, I want my text editor to take up half the screen. I could do it the very clumsy way, and let's see if I can even get this. There we go. Do something like this and put it over here, then put Chrome over here, especially if I have an app I'm developing and then I want to see the actual web page that I'm working on over here. It's a lot of work and really annoying. So what I like to do is use Spectacle. I think on a PC it's called just Snap or Snap to Windows. It's just I think you hold the Windows key and an arrow. Anyway, here's Spectacle. It's spectacleapp.com. It's no longer under active development, meaning no new features and things are being added. There are competitors or replacements. Spectacle has worked fine for me at this point, so I'm just going to open that up and install you. And that finished up, and I now can use the Spectacle shortcuts. The defaults are listed here. There are different shortcuts. The ones I typically use are, let's see, moving to the right and the left, 50%, top and bottom, not as much. Some people like that, but I prefer split screen left and right. So this allows me to just really easily move things around. And if I want full screen, I can do Command Option F on a Mac. But again, there are equivalents for other platforms, but I just recommend something like this because we will have multiple windows to manage, and a lot of developers like this tool. Okay, so next up, I'll show you quickly how to change the theme if you want. Not at all important, but a lot of people care about it.